due to the internet. People feel like they can say whatever they want to say without any like consequences.
People need to stop keeping things in.
Welcome back to the Let's Talk podcast with your hosts Ray and Kay.
Yeah, and today we're going to be talking about a serious topic that's usually overlooked and under-prioritized, and that's mental health, guys. It's so serious, and we thought today we're just going to talk about a few points on mental health and how we would, kind of attack or deal with something like this, because
it's happening on a daily basis.
On a daily basis,
affecting a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, just the other day we saw something, right?
Yeah.
And that was yesterday and today on some club.
Oh, you're talking about the Facebook club thing.
I'm talking about the Facebook club thing.
Okay, you give them a rundown.
Okay, so people went to this club, right? And they were taking pictures off on New Year's Day. You know, the photographer promoting the pictures. People were drunk, like super drunk.
I think it was New Year's or something. It was recent.
It was pretty recent. And what happened is, you get people like internet trolls who decided to go onto the app on Instagram on their page.
Yeah.
They took the pictures from the club and they decided to go and create memes out of the people and their photos. So they started picking on people who they thought weren't attractive enough, which I thought was evil.
Sick.
That was sick. That is a sick job.
I think like if you pick on somebody's appearance is like the worst thing you can do, because they can't change things. And people were making fun of this guy's complexion just because he was dark, and like he made a video about it.
Yeah,
and he said like it's affecting him in his personal life and his mental health. And I think society now, especially due to the internet, people feel like they can say whatever they want to say and not without any like consequences. It's so easy to pick up your phone and type a message and not think, oh, this are people. This is going to
affect somebody in the future and mess them up.
And it happens so often. If you just scrolling on TikTok, YouTube or whatever, and you look at comments, I'm sure you're going to see more than 10 or like thousands of people making fun of somebody just because of like something stupid, because they're not going to think, oh, this person has feelings.
People are sick these days, and that's what causes a lot of these issues that other people go with, that they deal with. And that's why we're talking about this topic today, because...
And how would you like define mental health in your own words, to like summarize it?
Well, for me, from my understanding, there's so many broad like terms, or people know about mental health in a different way, or they take it in a different way. For me, it's more like, you get a negative and a positive state of your mental health.
Yeah.
And if you're affected negatively, it can mess you up, like in your job or your home or your relationship or something of the sort. You just don't feel like you're in that right mental state. And if you're in a good state or in a good positive mental state, then, things tend to be smoother for you and you feel better and more relaxed, and you don't feel like you're losing your mind. Yeah, so it's a broad thing. It's very broad. Everyone has a different definition to it, but that's just mine. And yours? What do you think mental health is?
Most of our mental health issues stem from trauma, is what I believe.
Like PTSD or something.
So strong, because like we live on this earth for so many years and go through so many things.
Little things end up like stored in a place in our mind, and it makes us like create habits, get insecurities, and get bad habits, and not want to deal with things sometimes. And we just like deal in a negative way that it ends up only affecting us, for example, like everybody.
Yeah. No, that's true. I believe that. And that's past events can always mess you up and continue into the next,
because it's always like, unless it's like a medical condition, but it's always caused by other people and what they say and what they do to you and the actions that they do, maybe like when you're in school due to bullying, or like people not being very nice to you or not being your friend and stuff like that. It later on affects you, whether you believe it or not.
Yeah, that's completely true. And talking about something like that, I knew someone that actually faced something like that, where he had an issue at school when we were in school, and he's a teacher, right?
Yeah.
And this issue impacted his mental and physical health to the point where I don't think he knew whether he was coming or going. But he kept on trying to stay positive all the time and trying to feed into that positive bucket that he had there, you know, and I think he's at a way better place now. And it took a lot of effort to just get out of that negative mental state.
Yeah.
So it impacts a lot, you know, it impacts a lot.
So what are some common misconceptions that you think should be corrected about mental health?
Okay, so for me, some common misconceptions that I think should be corrected is the way people deal with it. That's one thing that I think needs to be corrected in our society today. People need to stop keeping things in. They need to let it out. They need to speak to someone. If they're facing issues, they need to at least speak to a friend, a parent, or even if they're not feeling that, you know, confident to speak to them, at least let it out. Because in some cases, you get people taking it to the extreme when they are unable to deal with the issues that they're facing.
Yeah.
So they end up taking their lives for that. And I think that's like crazy. Like imagine knowing someone who you saw every day, walking around, smiling, clapping, whatever, bringing light into a room. But deep down, you don't know that they had a secret, which was something that was messing them up mentally.
Yeah.
And they just didn't know how to address it, or they didn't know who to speak to. And then after that, you hear that they probably overdosed or took their life over something, you know, or started doing drugs or something of the sort, you know. But I think taking your life would probably be the worst.
Yeah.
And
that's worst case scenario.
yeah, so that's one thing that I don't know if I can call it a misconception that needs to be corrected. I think it's just something that needs to be corrected.
Like you meant the person that feels that way.
Yeah, they really need to see deeper.
Like personally, when it comes to things of suicide and, like you said, people unaliving themselves, I personally think when people do that, it's like, I don't know how to say, but maybe I'm sounding like too crazy. Not people are gonna agree with me, but I think that the person that is doing it, it's like kind of selfless. They're taking it as, I'm removing myself as a burden from the people around me. So they're not always gonna go and talk to the person or talk to their friends. I'm not like dismissing what you're saying. I do agree that people should seek help. There's like plenty platforms, and we'll maybe put some numbers here like for help lines if you need it. But I'm saying like a common thing that happens when it comes to that I personally believe happens is like people don't think what they're doing is going to hurt somebody. They think that what they're doing is solving the other person's problem.
They think it's solving the other person's problem.
So they're like, I'm not going to go and tell this person how I feel or how this is impacting me, or I'm feeling like doing this thing, because I'm just going to add more of a burden on them, on their weight, and they already don't want to do that. So they just think removing themselves from the whole existence, which is sad, because like everybody matters and you matter, and you know, everything passes in life. You'll always get in a better space.
No, definitely. I think you do get into a better space, and that's a problem now, you know. But as you said, there's some people, they don't want to do it because they feel that they're a burden. They put blame onto themselves and all of that. But you know, it would be nice if they could at least try, you know.
No, it should. But okay, back to the question, we like completely went off.
Okay.
I think like common misconceptions is that people are faking their mental health status. And if they say that they're feeling sad or they're feeling down or they're feeling depressed, especially when it comes to that word, I am depressed, people immediately attach it, this person just wants attention. And I think that's one stigma that should be corrected, and we should take it a bit more seriously, because personally, when I was in school and people used to like cut their wrist. Obviously, I was very young and I didn't understand like the severity of why people do that. And to me, I'm just like, why are you making it so obvious something? And I'm also a victim of being like, this person's just doing it for attention, because like, why are you just making like
Slitting your wrist. What's the
millions of
point?
cuts on you?
Ay.
So I think like one of it is that many people, not just me, so like don't hate on me, think like that should be corrected. That we shouldn't just assume people are doing it for just attention. And yeah, that's one.
That's a good misconception though that needs to be dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't think of many, but the
At this-
point that you
yeah.
mentioned, at this point I can't, but what you mentioned is so true. When people are looking and seeking for attention, and then you get people that are actually out there that need serious help.
And only when it
And-
comes to the end, they're like, you should have reached out.
You should have reached out.
Mental
you should
health
have-
awareness and stuff like that.
Yeah, but when they reach out, it's called attention seeking. But some people do that for attention seeking.
And one other point that I can add on is like when people remove themselves or distance themselves, they're like, this person is just ignoring me, or this person doesn't care, so I'm just not going to worry about them, not going to check up on them. And sometimes we don't take note that those are signs that like somebody is
Something's wrong.
dealing with things,
Yeah.
and that's when we should, if we're their friends or their family and we're close to them and we know how they are, and they
Yeah, you need to
acting
approach
odd.
them.
Even if somebody's acting a bit too happy, sometimes you can't trust that, I
You
think.
can't trust it as well. That was my point. You can't really, you wouldn't be able to tell because it's something that some people
But
keep deep inside,
generally-
locked up.
Generally, if you're kind to people, you don't know what that small kindness, if you're kind to everybody, you don't know among everybody going through in that day, maybe one person was like having the worst day possible and you came there and you were kind to them, you were nice to them, even
Yeah.
like if they weren't in the mood, you were like still giving them your best. And some things like that do matter. So no one's saying like God of you, just be a kind person.
Okay, so how does stress and lifestyle factors contribute to mental health or your mental health status? Let's say that.
I think firstly, people don't have time to deal with it in this day and age, especially in your 20s. Sometimes
Yeah.
even when you're in high school, you don't have time to like deal with it because you don't even process life. So in your 20s, you're busy worrying about like working. If you're in college, you're like so busy and you have so many things to think about, your future, and you have so much of stress that you don't have time to prioritize it. And that's where you like just let it get out of hand and you let stress take over you, and you're like, okay, I want to manage this, but I don't have the time to do good habits. And then that's when bad habits come in. And the funny thing about bad habits is just going to make you feel worse.
Yeah.
Like you think that temporarily it's like making you feel, maybe you like drink a lot, and that's like going to obviously then affect your physical health. So now
Yeah,
your
it'll
physical health
contribute.
and your mental health is getting
Both
jacked
depleted.
up.
Yeah, everything's getting attacked at the same time just because of you being unable to handle these kind of things. No, it makes sense. I mean,
And if you ever drank with somebody a bit too much and they get a bit too emotional, and then like you're like, okay, it's really coming, and something that you used to cope is now like being your enemy and making you like upset. So it like force your body, I think, like no matter how you put it, it forces you to deal with it and tries to survive.
no, it definitely does try to survive. So, like, to me, I think lifestyle factors definitely add to stress, which adds to mental health issues and negative mental state and all of that. Because, for example, people nowadays, as you said, they don't have much time to deal or see to themselves and look after themselves. So if you are, in an environment like a workplace and you're working for somebody, and work can get really stressful all the time. It's never like an easy
Yeah.
place where you could say it's a smooth
Yeah.
stroll down the road and everyone's happy and whatnot. No, it's never like that. You're always busy
Yes.
doing something, stressing about whatever your job is, and then you're getting people like your boss or your manager
Yeah.
on top of you about certain things. You need to get this done, you need to get that done, and then you have to think about your home and what you're gonna do when you get home and the stuff in your house
Then
and
you
the
have to
money
deal
you
with your
make.
partner.
You have to deal with your
if you have
partner.
kids.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is when you're taking emotions from home or from work to home
Yeah.
and from home to work. And that messes with your mental well-being because you can't do that. And people say often, like I've watched podcasts before in the past where they say separate your work and home life, and it's not easy to like just leave those emotions at work
Because
and
you
come
can't
home
deal
to a
with it
clean
at
slate.
work.
You can't deal with it at work,
And then at home, you
and
like,
yeah, at home your mind is so like messed up about it that you know you end up putting other people in a bad mood, or they end up thinking that you're just not giving them enough time, or you're not focusing enough on them, and then that adds stress to it because it's putting strain onto your work life, your relationship, and you know it just becomes too complex sometimes. So my thing is, stress
it's not
stress
good.
is not good. It
Okay.
definitely impacts
And
a
adding
lot.
on to that, like we both said that it's difficult now, but let's discuss like strategies maybe that can be done to deal with it now.
Strategies that can be done. You see this? Okay, all right. So what strategy would you give? I've got one strategy. Like I know that there's a lot of different strategies out there, but not
Yeah, what?
everyone can do them because
Yeah.
of time and you know the commitments you have in life. But anyways, let's just share it, you know, like any of them that.
Okay.
So the first one to me would be like people need time for themselves. You need time for yourself. You need to be away from everyone just once while, even if it's just for an hour, you know, take a jog, go to the gym, work out, read a book, you know, watch a movie,
Yeah.
or do something that's going to take your mind away from the problem that you have. Because when you focus too much on it and you're around people, sometimes it's not easy to ignore that. So it's better doing something that you can do for yourself to look after yourself and your mind,
Yeah.
just to change where you are at. That's one strategy I have.
So just
That's
take
just
time for
one.
yourself.
Just take time for yourself, you know. Get yourself back into what you need to, and that's a positive mind state. And you? What's a strategy that you could give people?
I think just doing something that you enjoy doing, even if it's in the weekend when you're off or maybe after work, like just find, like you said, that one thing that makes you happy or, you know, takes your mind off something and just focus on that until you like, you know, better space
Yeah,
of
better
mind, even
space.
if it's like exercising or, like you said, taking time for yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to also find partners that like respect you and you respect them, and be like, okay, you can communicate to them and be like, hey, I need this time for myself, and they must like respect that you do need that. So that's like one way.
That is one way. People need to respect the part of I need time, you know? And sometimes I need time doesn't mean I need time away from
Yeah, it
you
doesn't mean
and I
that.
don't want to be with you and all of that. It just means I need time for me. And that's one thing that some partners don't
Because
understand.
like self-love comes first, and I think that if you love yourself, you're gonna give the best of yourself. And that's why you
Exactly.
should take care of yourself first, then take care of your loved ones, because in the end of the day, you are in charge of yourself.
Yeah.
And you have yourself, you're walking around with your mind all day. You don't want to have that kind of burden over your shoulders constantly. So just take that time for yourself, because like I believe, you work yourself out. You spend your whole life working, or prioritizing material things. But the day that you get sick, or you know, your health declines, is when like it hits you and like your body's not moving. Then you're like, oh, you take all those tablets, you're willing to spend all that money that you work so hard on getting, and just to get better again. But that's the thing that you take advantage of, like when you are better. So my thing is, instead of like doing that, like prioritize yourself, because if something adds happen to your job is obviously gonna like just replace you.
They would replace you, and that's why stress doesn't really matter. Don't put yourself in
Yeah,
stress.
don't stress yourself for
stress too
somebody
much.
else's like
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, like don't do that because, but stress doesn't only come in the form of work. Sometimes you get like, as you said, you need a good partner. And sometimes partners can stress you out a lot, especially if they're demanding things that
Yeah.
are a little bit unrealistic, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. But that's just the strategies that I've got from my side.
Okay, I know that we went on to this a bit, but what advice would you give to somebody who wants to support a family or a friend that is dealing with mental health challenges?
Mental health and challenges. Yeah, we did mention something like this earlier.
That was like,
but
but to partners?
Yeah, to partners. But like for a family member or a friend, I think first you need to identify if that person really is going through something like that or having issues. But when you do, the best advice that I think I could give is to approach the person, and try your best to let them open up to you. Don't let them not. Like don't force yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not saying force yourself, but I'm saying just be that shoulder that they can lean on, because sometimes people, as you said, are afraid to speak up, or they feel like they're burdens or something of the sort, and they want to just not open up to anyone. But I think by not speaking to someone about the issues that they have, you're causing more harm to them. Because low-key, some people do want help, or a lot of people do. They're just too afraid and they don't know how. So the best thing I would say is to keep trying, do some things with them, take them out, or just show them that there's a broader space to life, and there's so much more that you could do that'll make you re-enjoy every moment that you're still alive and living, and everything, as you said, passes. So that's why I'm saying that the best thing to do is to try your best to speak to that person. Don't ever tell other people about the issues that someone else is having.
That's so important.
It's so confidential.
Yeah.
So you really, that's one word of advice I'd give as well when it comes to dealing with or trying to help someone. Don't try to get other people involved. If someone opens up to you, keep it to yourself and make sure that you are there for that person, because one day they'll probably be there for you as well when you need it. That's what I think you should do when you're trying to help someone out.
Yeah.
Or at least.
And to add on to what you're saying, some people, it would be like exhausting. Sometimes maybe you yourself, the one that wants to help, is not fine. You know what I mean?
You're not fine mentally.
And like that's when you still have to give advice to the person. And I think that's where you can create this little team thing where y'all sharing y'all's experience, and it'll make the person not feel alone.
Yeah.
And it'll make them feel like I can trust this person with my trauma because they also opening up about theirs. So that's like one way to also go about it. But I think long as you give in love and kindness to somebody, it does really go a long way.
Yeah, it goes a long way, and it helps them see more to life than just that problem that they're facing that's turning them into, like an ugly person or someone that's feeling like they're not coping with life anymore, because so many people end up going down the wrong route. Like family members, I'm sure we've seen family members and friends who have went downhill, and it's just because they haven't been able to speak to anyone, and the only thing that they could do was to deal with it on their own, and some people don't know how to deal. So that's just how they go about it.
Okay, so how do you think that the conversation around mental health evolved in recent years, and what positive changes have you observed?
Ooh. Okay. First, let's start with the way the world has changed in the past few years and how people are now. People are more open about their feelings and emotions and things like that, especially people like men, We were all in the past, men were told to be strong and never to share things that affect them and not to open up that much. Otherwise, you're weak. You're considered weak in society. So because of this being such a broad topic now and people are talking about it more and there's more people supporting the idea of speaking out about your mental health and how you feel and things like that, you know, a lot of people are starting to be more, how can I say this? They're starting to be like more understanding towards each other, and a lot of pressure is being taken away from the norm of the previous idea of what society needs to be, and that is strong people that don't talk about their feelings that much. You just need to shrug it off your shoulder and continue with life. So I think it's very positive now because people are more vocal and they're more happy. You know, they're happier than they were before, and people are more they're just more vocal.
Yeah.
I could say that, you know. Yeah, a little too vocal, but at least, you know, you can't win all the time.
Yeah.
You know, you get something done and there's always something else that comes with it. So, yeah. And for you, how have you seen it change or an impact in these past few years? Because I know I've seen a lot. Not that old, but I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it.
Like you said, now in our generation of what are we, youth, like what's it like, adolescent kind of people, we're not yet full adults. We are more, like you said, aware of our feelings. We're aware of what we feel.
Yeah.
And we do try sometimes to like diagnose ourselves with what it is. And I think now most especially people are trying to break the generational habits and stuff that was there. People are discussing these things and trying to, you know, break away from the old generation, like you said.
Yeah.
So I think that did change, although I do think that the older generation do not fully like understand mental health.
Yeah, they can't grasp the idea of it. They're
never
stuck
like
in
changed
it.
they always, yeah.
Yeah, they'll never change their old ways. They're stuck in it, and what they know is what shall be. So
But there's like so many different people, especially on YouTube, speaking about their own personal problems and making people feel not alone. And I think when you don't feel alone and you don't feel like you're the only one going through it, you like feel a bit better. You're like, okay, this is like a normal emotion to feel. That's why it was like so good that people are becoming more open to sharing their experiences, even if before they were like ashamed of it. Now they're just like speaking it more, and it's a good change to see.
No, it is a good change to see. I mean, you know, there's music about things like that.
Yeah,
I've listened to artists that talk about these kind of issues and you know, make songs about it because, you know, as you said, there's a lot of people out there in the world facing
They're trying to speak.
and they don't know how to deal with it. But you know, when you know that there are other people going through it, you don't feel alone.
And I even see like recent celebrities that we grew up watching on Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and stuff, and now they come out about how much they were battling back then when we were watching them, and they were happy and, you know, everything seemed fine. And then now they come up and they tell us like how they truly were, and it's like makes you really feel not alone. That's what I do like, that people are humanizing each other. But
right, so yeah, with this podcast is crazy. This topic is crazy. I really hope that what we're saying
it's like making sense, like the way that we interpreting it.
Yeah, definitely. I hope it makes sense. But at the same time, I hope it helps you guys out. You know, the ones that decided to watch this video. Thank you so much for clicking here and staying this long. But yeah, we're going to get back into it now. I've got another question here for you, right? And this is a crazy one. Are there specific cultural or societal factors that impact the way mental health is perceived and addressed? Is there? From your understanding, do you think there are?
Let me clear my throat.
You might want some of that water.
I think Cultural, I assume they mean like religious. I'm thinking. I do personally think that the church or like spiritual people don't think much of mental health. They're just like, oh no, it's just like the devil, or pray about the issue, or things are like our
Oh,
generation will be like, that's not gonna help me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that it doesn't help, because like obviously you doing those things are gonna help you, but sometimes that's not the answer somebody wants to hear.
yeah, they want to hear something that I
They relate
think
to
is
and
that
resonate
they
to.
can relate to. Yeah, because like I've seen that where pastors or people or
And
family
and
members
I
say
think
that
like it's a way to just dismiss the topic and the trauma that comes with it. Because like obviously you're not just gonna be like, oh, I'm depressed and it's like for nothing, and nobody wants to hear your reasoning why, because everybody got an answer or solution for you, because it's so easy for another person to like tell you what you should be doing or what you could be doing or how
oof,
easy or how small your problem is.
yeah,
And I think
preach.
especially when it comes to like, you know, society and culture, they're like, ah, you complaining about that, this guy has it worse, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, although it may be true, I think it's good to also like experience your emotions, deal with your emotions, live through it. And I think like if you want to cry about something, just cry about it. If you're going to be angry in that moment, let it out.
Yeah, let it
Because
out.
like society is going to tell you your problem is not big. Oh, my generation was way harder than yours. What are y'all complaining about? And
Yeah.
I think when it comes to the culture, it's like old people, like we said in the beginning, and they don't normally understand that, you know, although we didn't have to like go to school like with torn clothes or walk a mile, that we don't have these
We
issues,
still
because
have
we
our own
do
type
have
of
our
issues
issues.
today. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
now, like we said in the beginning, social media is such a big thing, and we have to like always keep in mind how we look, how we dress, what we say, because we're so scared of being judged,
Yeah.
and it affects us in so many different ways. I'm like talking so long, sorry. Like
No, no,
my
no, you're
breath
not.
is
You're
like
not.
finishing here. My words are like going.
Yeah, no,
But
but
that's what I personally think, that with culture and society, that's how, you know, it needs to get better. And you can like go now, so I can drink water.
now drink that water you needed. I mean, I don't even know how long we're talking for, but it's been a while.
Okay, just to continue that, in this age of technology and social media, how do you navigate the potential impact on mental health?
Okay, that's a crazy question. I think like social media has a super extremely large impact on your mental health status. You just mentioned something now that you have to be so like worried about,
Yeah.
you know, how you look on social media and all of that. And you know, that's another point that's true. I mean, that's one thing that people worry about a lot, like how they are seen by the world, because social media is worldwide, you know, and people around you and close to you and people you've been in school with and whatnot, you know, they just judge your stuff,
Yeah.
the things that you post. So if you're gonna post a picture, best believe that picture is gonna be seen by everyone you know, and not everyone's gonna like it. Not everyone's gonna have a positive comment about it, and you know that's just gonna mess you up mentally
Yeah.
because you know people are so programmed into this new thing that gives them a rush, and it's the
Yeah.
adrenaline rush from social media, and you know you it ends up becoming like a drug that you need to get your daily dose of every day. Like TikTokers, I'm pretty sure if you get a TikToker that gets like high amounts of views and engagement, like if they had to end up losing that and start getting a
Yeah.
low amount, you know, they'd start going into like depression or
They
anything
base
of the
their
sort
happiness on social media,
on
basically.
social media. And not only that, I think people look at other people's lives as well. And that also messes up their mental health because they want something that other people don't have. And that messes with your mental health as well, because you're
Of
not,
comparing, yeah.
it's comparison. You're comparing what
Mm-hmm.
someone else's life to yours, and in a way it creates
That's what.
all those emotions of depression and unhappiness, and you're not what's the word I'm looking for, you're not satisfied
Yeah.
with your life anymore and what you have, and all of that, all because of social media. So it impacts a lot on mental health. It's really bad. It's
Yeah.
really bad and good at the same time, but I've heard a lot of negatives from it. A lot of negatives.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. So it's not like much for me to add because,
Yeah.
like, you generally said basically everything I wanted to say.
I stole the words out your
Yeah,
mouth,
just
like what you
take-
did to me in the last question.
because that's so true. Like, most of our problems are based on social media. People like unaliving themselves because of things people say on social media. So that's what I'm like, yeah,
Huh.
right.
Aside from that, what about businesses? Businesses get
yeah,
attacked
that's so true.
properly, and people don't look at the mental health of people like that. Like a business that's owned by someone, and they've been just by a silly TikTok post, that went viral, and it's not a positive thing about someone's like shop or something of the sort. It makes them lose business and clientele and gives them a bad name. And that's a problem with social media, and it puts those people in depression. You end up closing shop, you end up,
And the thing
it's
about
crazy.
social media that I noticed is like they don't care if you rich. You know what I mean? They like don't care. That's when they like more brutal on you because they think, oh, this person has money, so I can like do and say
Do and say
whatever I want
whatever.
to say.
Nah, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't like it. I actually dislike the whole idea of how people go down and what they do on social media. They use social media as a weapon nowadays to
Yeah.
attack people. And people are being attacked a lot, mentally. It drains you because of the impact it has on you,
And people create drama and they come with this like what's the story times, and they like talk, and then the whole community picks a side that they on, and they'll attack the specific person. And like for people that are in our like age, it's like traumatic. I mean, I personally would not handle like if you know what I mean, like so many people would come against you and like put hateful comments and just flood all your social media with like hate.
Yeah, with hate everywhere. That's the crazy part, and how do you handle that as a person?
I think you just
Hey.
like take the time that you need away from your device,
Away from your
away
device,
from
exactly.
social media, and just everything passes. Like I think,
Yeah.
and that viral thing or moment is gonna like die just like 5 minutes of fame.
Yeah, it is
For
just
those
5 minutes
that,
of
like-
fame. Exactly. And that's the thing, people need to not let that become the issue, because all of those people behind the screen that are talking and throwing their comments and all of that, they'd never say it to your face, that's a problem. People like hiding behind the screen and creating issues for other people and making them feel a certain type of way, and then other people become depressed about it and they're not happy and all of that. And that's why you shouldn't worry too much about it. Don't let those things attack you mentally.
And
I
one
think.
thing that I don't like
Yeah.
about people nowadays is like if you make a mistake, they behave like it's unrepairable. Like you can't live anymore from that mistake. Like your life shouldn't go on, and they like remind you of that one mistake. And sometimes it'll bother you personally, and it would obviously eat at you. But then when you're trying to move past it, people are gonna like bring it back up, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. That's why you can't make any mistakes.
That's so odd. But people
it's really
behave
not
like
easy.
they
You
don't
can't.
make any mistakes.
Yeah,
like they're
you're
just
just
perfect.
human. Exactly. You can make mistakes. You're supposed to make mistakes. We're not perfect.
That's what makes our life interesting, I think.
Exactly. So feeling like depressed or having
About
like a
your
negative,
mistakes, yeah.
don't be negative about your mind. Don't let your excuse me, don't let your mind go into a negative space. It's just not worth it at the end of the day, I think. None of it is. And it doesn't really matter.
And you just live once. So if you make a mistake, just like go with it. Move on from it. You do better for yourself, whether somebody else believes it or not. Long as you know for your fact that you are doing better, that you're working on yourself.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Okay, just to get a little personal, has there ever been a time where your mental health wasn't the best? And like, do you remember anything that stuck with you where something or someone was like not helping it? And was there something that was like helping you?
Okay. I always refer to my schooling life in my in these videos and podcasts, because that was like almost the worst time of my life, my high school years. So for me, it was the beginning of my high school year, grade 8, brand new in school. You always get those big shots that like to annoy you all the time and, make it seem like, there's the new people here. Let's just start with them and show them what this place is like, which made it an awful experience. So that time I was like super weird looking, like I had acne all over my face. I was like crazy, I'm serious. I'll show you a picture of it. It's so bad.
You show them a picture of me.
No, I'm not gonna show them a picture. I can't show them a picture. No. But yeah, so I just think I was like in my, like beginning stages, 13 and
like what's it, puberty?
yeah, puberty stages. So I had people like, they used to tease me about it and all of that. And I was a skinny guy. So, there was a lot of things that they used to say to me and make me feel bad about my own appearance at that time. And I didn't understand it, but it did mess me up because I used to keep trying to change what I looked like. And, I wanted to like start training to make myself look better and all of that. And, now that you mentioned that, there was something that actually did make it worse is the fact that I never ever understood why they did it. I never understood why. So that's what made it worse for me, is because for the 3 years that I was in that school, see, it's grade 8 and grade 9. No, yeah, 3 years. 3 years. I never understood why people were being that way. As the years went by, I still didn't understand it. And now that I'm out of school, I can see that it was just either pure jealousy, or not that there was anything to be jealous about, or maybe they just had someone that they needed to pick on at that time, that wouldn't say or do anything that's not from the area. So that messed me up mentally, because I always felt like I wasn't good enough to fit in with these kind of people. And when you're in school, you want to be at least with a group of people that you can be around, that you can fit in with. But since it didn't happen, I guess that's just what it was. And there was a person that I used to talk to, and it was my mother at that time. She used to tell me, don't worry about all these people, don't worry about all of that. You're better than them, and one day things are going to be better, you're going to be great. She always used to tell me that all the time, and I believed it, So when we eventually moved from that school or the area, I went to a different high school, and I changed my approach on how I'm going to be and all of that. And I started to believe that I'm better than those people, because I went from a school that's in a pretty crappy area to one that's in a better area. And the respect that I got there was different. The response I got was way different, because I was around people that were more like me. So that was when my mental health was tested.
Yeah, but like just like you're saying, when you change school, it shows like the value of people. Because I think like people who are mean, it speaks more about them than it speaks about you. Like they may be picking on you, but it like shows more about their character and how they are.
Yeah, that's very true.
And they won't go very far in life.
Not very far at all. So that's another thing, when you're being bullied and all of that, and whatever it is, cyberbullying still happens now, even to adults. Just let it be. Don't let those things attack you, because, you're better than those people by a long way. Yeah. And that's mine. And with you, you got any stories for me?
Any story?
Yeah,
Juicy stories. Drama.
nah, just your version of the story or your.
Just any time. I think like only 2 times, and that was like out of school. In school, I think like I went to an okay school. I was like one of the few, mixed race, colored. I don't know, people. So like besides that, but I don't think it was like anything serious. So like most of my trauma moments happen out of school, and what helped me deal with it? Nothing. I don't know. I don't think I dealt with it majority of the time, and I just like push things away. So, yeah, I don't know. I didn't have many people there.
Yeah, you didn't have people to help you deal with things, or you just chose not to.
I chose not to. Let me correct that.
Okay.
There were people there that were trying to reach out and whatnot, but I was just like stubborn. I'm like, nah, it's fine, whatever. I'll just like deal with it my own way by myself. So yeah, I don't know. And people who made it worse was like just doing like untrustable things, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, being two-faced. That used to like affect me so much, and I grew to have so much of trust issues. So
yeah, trust
just
issues.
Stuff like that.
See, there's a lot of things that mental health can mess up, and it's people that create the mental health
It's
issues.
so true.
And you see, it creates things like you don't trust people anymore. You don't.
And I pull away a lot from people.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. I pulled away a lot from people as well.
Yeah, I feel like that's also a way to deal with mental health, is like pulling away from the situation.
Yeah.
And then you like in a better, your own little bubble, your own little space where you decide what you want to think, how you want to feel about yourself, and you're not like living by the opinions of other people.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah, I can agree.
But I think I just generally don't like people who are rude to me, because I don't even leave that much out. So I don't like when people are like mean or rude to me for no reason. Especially like they don't know like what myself or other people are going through. That's what I think.
Do you think people being rude to you can contribute to a negative mind or...
Myself or people?
No, just say people in general, since you're saying you don't like people being rude
I don't
to you.
like that.
I mean, like a boss shouting at his workers, or...
I don't know, because like when it comes to bosses and stuff, I'm like serious, because I'm like they just want their shit done. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
So but I mean like personal people, like around you know, like around you.
Yeah.
You don't want them to be rude to you or seem like two-faced and talk behind your back and get all that done to you, especially if you like secretly dealing with things that you don't want to deal with. That's why I'm so strong. Like, just be kind to people all the time.
Okay, we are down to the last question of this podcast, right? It's been amazing.
Tired.
I'm tired as well. It is 10:12 in the night. We are burning oil, right? And that's crazy. Wow, that is crazy. But yeah, we're on the last question now, guys. For those who have stayed this long, thank you so much for watching our podcast again. Thank you. It was really amazing having you guys here. But now we got one last question.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
You're ready for it? Okay. What steps can individuals take to reduce the stigma surrounding mental health and promote open conversations in their communities?
I think by creating awareness in the situation.
Especially in communities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to actively know that people have a place to reach out to, or like a phone line that they can go, even if it's in the community, and they have like social groups.
Yeah, they have group gatherings and discussions about those kind of things.
That would be so cool. We don't have that. But I think like it would be so cool. Like imagine like it'll be like a podcast but not recorded.
Yeah, not recorded.
And like everybody's like talking about their own individual stories, and you'll grow so much to humanize people, because like it's so hard, I think, for people to sympathize.
It is hard.
Empathy now is so hard, because we all talking about mental health and, you know, being a bit selfish and only thinking about those people, and in the end of the day, what you do as an individual still impacts. You can't just use that as an excuse like, oh, this is my mental health, so I'm gonna treat this person whatever, I'm gonna take advantage. Every time I see this person, I'm gonna like complain about my problems.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that
true.
also is like, I don't know. There's like different ways about it, but I think in a community that would be cool to have.
It would be very nice to have that in a community, open group
Yeah.
discussions. Yeah, and just things like that. Even if it's people that are in the group, you have small events here and there to talk about these kind of things, to bring it, as you said, raise awareness, things like that.
And especially if you're dealing with it, don't seclude yourself. Be part of
Don't seclude yourself.
like gatherings or events that are happening in the community, whether it maybe, I don't know, church, concerts, what else do people do? I
Well,
don't know
there's a
what
lot
people
of
do.
there's a lot
Like
of things
whatever
that you can
events are
do.
happening, to be part of like people,
Yeah.
to like just have fun.
Yeah, I think that's about it. That's the best way we can say, how could you bring up or add it to the. You guys know what I'm saying, right? I'm tired
His brain
right
is
now.
finishing.
My brain is finished. I cannot think anymore.
So we're just gonna like conclude this.
Yeah,
think.
let's conclude this podcast episode on mental health.
It was a journey, and we spoke a lot about it, and we like learned a lot from each other, I think.
Yeah, there was a lot of learning from
And I
each
hope
other
you all
that
guys
happened, yeah.
enjoyed watching it. And that's it for this podcast. You can check out some of the other topics that we discussed. And if you're interested in hearing us talk about something else, you can drop it in the comment section.
Yeah, please
and
don't
we
forget to
will-
leave that in the comment section.
Yeah, and subscribe. Bye.
Yep, subscribe to the channel. Bye.